This is 1160 AM, KVCE, Dallas-Fort Worth's Business Authority.
Welcome to the Believers in Business Hour on AM 1160 KVCE. It's time for Bar Talk with local trial lawyer Brad Parker, the attorney you hope you never need. Stay tuned, get informed, and get educated about your legal rights when you or a loved one has been seriously injured or harmed by the conduct of someone else or at the hands of an insurance company. Brad Parker has focused his law practice exclusively on trial work since becoming licensed in 1985 and is board certified in personal injury trial law by the Texas Board of Legal Specialization. And now, here's Bar Talk with Brad Parker, the attorney you hope you never need.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. I'm Brad Parker, the attorney you hope you never need, here on KVCE, the DFW's Business Authority, 1160 on your AM dial. This is kind of a new concept that the KVCE is undertaking with Believers in Business. They're going to have from the 5 to 6 hour every day, Monday through Friday, various different local professionals to come in and talk about different aspects of their professional business. On Mondays, you're going to have somebody here to talk about mortgages. On Tuesday, you're going to have Boss Talk, which is going to focus on sales and intelligence. Of course, your best program is going to be on Wednesday, 5 to 6, and it's Bar Talk. We're going to talk about all things legal from a civil justice system. We're going to concentrate on the personal injury practice, and I'm going to go into that in just a few minutes, but also the insurance bad faith. If you've been not in such good hands after all, and you need some relief there. Then on Thursdays, you're going to see a new program called the Family Law Hour with Donna, Frank, and David. And they'll, of course, come to you and talk to you about family law matters. And then on Friday, we close out with Money Matters. It's going to talk about finances and various things. So I hope that you will tune in and listen to those programs. As I mentioned, my name is Brad Parker. I've been practicing law here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area since 1985. I don't know exactly how I got into law other than since I was a young boy, I always thought that I wanted to do it. Somewhat being a rebel when I was younger, trying to find my way, I quickly decided that maybe it's a little bit easier working from the inside out rather than from the outside in. And such sparked my interest in the law. After graduating from law school, I went to work for a large downtown Fort Worth law firm that did a lot of commercial banking matters, represented insurance companies, those kinds of things. And after about 5 years or so, you kind of woke up one day and said, you know, I'm not getting a lot of satisfaction from representing corporations and insurance companies. On Christmas, I never got a card from them saying thank you for everything you've done for me in the past. So I decided to try to do something a little different. And I was naturally drawn to the personal injury work or representing consumers, representing families, Texas families who have been wronged, whether it be by an insurance company or corporations. One of the things that I truly, truly enjoyed about law school and learning was to learn more about the civil justice system. You know, the civil justice system that we have here in America is not perfect. There are a lot of problems with it. Some of we're going to talk about on this show. I hope that you will call and ask about it. But it's the best system in the world. And I would challenge you to try to find a different system worldwide that you would rather be subject to if you should need the help of the civil justice system. We'll talk about that a little bit more as we get through the program and on the upcoming shows that I'm going to be doing. But after I left the big downtown law firm, I went out with a group of guys and women, and we started our own firm. And over the course of the next several years, I really wanted to focus more and more on helping folks, just regular, everyday folks. And so ultimately, I partnered up with some other people, and my practice just naturally drew me to doing a personal injury, wrongful death, and insurance bad faith practice. And I've been doing that pretty much nonstop for about the last 20 years, even though I've been practicing for going on 30, almost 30 years. I am board certified in personal injury trial law. There's less than 2% of all attorneys in this state that are board certified in personal injury trial law. You have to take another certification exam above and beyond just being a lawyer in order to become board certified. I've also given back. I've given back to the bar that I love, the Tarrant County Bar, the Dallas Bar, both in my time and service on the various committees of the bar, providing legal services to the community for free, whether it be being on a grievance committee for the State Bar of Texas to help police other conduct of lawyers who may get in trouble. I've done that for 4 years. I've also was the president of the Tarrant County Bar Association in Fort Worth, where we have about, I think the last count I saw was around 3,000 members, 2,800 members. If Tricia Graham were here, she'd tell me exactly. She's the executive director and been the executive director for about 22 years over there. But also I've been very, very heavily involved in the State Trial Lawyers Association. And the Texas Trial Lawyers Association is the statewide association, if you will, of folks who represent families, who represent people, who don't represent insurance companies, who don't represent businesses in legal disputes. And one of the primary things that, if not the primary thing, and the number one thing that the Texas trial lawyers focus on is the legislature. What happens in the legislature. And a little bit today I'd like to touch on, and we'll hit on it through other shows, how important it is. I don't want this to be a politics show. We're going to talk about law. But one of the things that's very important is what the legislature does, because they pass the laws that we have to operate under in order to gain access to the civil justice system. So we're going to talk about those kinds of things. We're also going to talk about what is a personal injury lawsuit. It can be anything from a car wreck. And think about this for just a second. Car wrecks. When you first think about that, many people think of fender benders and have a very negative connotation. But when you really stop to think about it, just watch your local news, read your morning paper. The most dangerous thing you do day in and day out is drive your car on the freeway. Especially in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, where we have congested highways and trucks running back and forth up and down the freeway. If you get into an automobile accident with an 18-wheeler, you lose. And so there's significant injury cases that happen as a result of trucking and automobiles, but there's also product liability lawsuits. Most people don't understand the difference between a class action lawsuit and a mass tort lawsuit. We hear about transvaginal mesh, hips, now testosterone, all those kinds of products, defects, medical product defects, and people want to know what their rights are, what they can do. Do they have any rights? How will they be handled? Well, this is the show that's going to talk about those kinds of things. We also have what we call dram shop cases. These bars, and I'm not being critical of bars, but they need to be responsible. And when they're not, and they overserve their patrons, and those people get in their cars and drive down the highway and kill, maim, or injure somebody, they need to be held accountable. Not just the driver, but the bar that knowingly overserved them. So we're going to talk about those kinds of cases. Medical malpractice. It's amazing how many people call my office wanting to know about medical malpractice cases. And unfortunately, I have to tell them that for the most part, medical malpractice doesn't exist in Texas anymore because of some of the laws that happened in the legislature. We'll talk about some of those things as well. As far as insurance bad faith, we're going to talk about that. When a hailstorm tears up your roof and the adjuster comes out and says, oh, only a quarter of your roof needs to be replaced, but the roofer says, no, your whole roof needs to be replaced. What do you do when the insurance company won't pay for it? What are your rights and what are the insurance company's obligations in those situations? Those are the things I want to talk about with you as well. Also, I want to talk about the importance of the civil justice system, why we have it. Is it dying? Is it going away? Should it? Let's talk about those issues. What is arbitration? How does arbitration affect your right to get in front of a jury? Is arbitration a good idea? Is it a bad idea? I want to talk about those issues in the coming shows and segments that we have. Many times businesses who once were very hot to trot on arbitration are now coming to the decision that maybe that's not such a great idea anymore after all. Arbitration's extremely expensive for everybody involved. I also want to talk about judicial selection at some point in time. You know, in Texas, we have 456 judicial district courts around the state. There's 254 counties, so those courts are spread out through the counties. At some point, I want to talk about how those judges are picked. You know, should that system be changed? Should it be modified somehow? Should we continue to have elections? Should it be Republican versus Democrat? Should it be nonpartisan? How should we pick our judges? Or should we just leave it alone? After all, the way the federal government picks the judges is that the president nominates and the Congress approves, and they're there for life. Is that a system that we want in Texas? I would suggest to you that we don't, but it's a fair question to ask. Those are just some of the things we're going to talk about. After the commercial break, I'm going to come back and talk to you about some other stuff, just to kind of acquaint you with me and what I want to do with the show, and hopefully you'll come in and visit. I'm Brad Parker, KBCE, 1160 AM.
You're listening to 1160 AM, KVCE.
Okay, there are a few things I really don't like to talk to other people about, but in this case, well, just hear me out. Hi, this is Jackie Velasquez. As a mom, wife, and singer and radio hostess, I find myself chatting and talking all the time to people. One of the things that is always on my mind is fresh breath. My husband only sees the good in me, but I don't want to give him any reason to change that. So I want to introduce you to TheraBreath. It's all you need when it comes to fresh breath. I love the way it makes me feel. It feels like a deep clean for my mouth, a spa treatment of sorts. I want my kids to kiss me for as long as I can get it. So I'm going to make sure I'm ready with clean teeth and fresh breath. It's fresh breath made simple. Get $10 in coupons when you go to TheraBreath.com/Jackie. That's JACI. TheraBreath.com/Jackie. JACI. TheraBreath products are available at Target, Walgreens, Walmart, Rite Aid, and other fine stores. So go ahead, eat all the onions, all the garlic you want, because TheraBreath has got your back. It's fresh breath made simple.
Katie Iglesias of Louisville.
My time is very important to me, and Huffines made the whole buying experience hassle-free and very easy.
And Huffines will make your buying experience hassle-free as we celebrate 90 years of Texas values and the Dodge 100-year event with sensational savings at both locations of Huffines Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Shop hassle-free and save big while choosing from Huffines' Texas-size selection of new Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram cars, trucks, SUVs, and crossovers. Plus, save even more with the lowest financing and the highest cash rebates available. All from the 6-time winner of the Consumer's Choice Award for Auto Dealership Group of the Year. In Plano, see Huffines Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram at Ohio and Plano Parkway. And in Louisville, see Huffines Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram on I-35 just north of 121. Or click it and pick it at Huffines.net.
Huffines has it. Huffines has it.
At Parker Law Firm, people matter. We have an unwavering commitment to people who have been seriously harmed by the negligence or wrongdoing of others. Our practice focuses on those who have been killed or seriously injured in major trucking or car accidents, or whose lives have been seriously disrupted by the bad faith conduct of an insurance company.
Hi, I'm Brad Parker, Principal Partner at Parker Law Firm. I'm board certified in personal injury trial law by the Texas Board of Legal Specialization. I'm also the immediate past president of the Texas Trial Lawyers Association. Our firm knows that when you or a loved one has been seriously injured in an accident caused by another person's negligence, you may not know where to go or who to trust. Our firm is built on years of trial experience, a tradition of personal service, and a reputation for zealous representation of our clients. We're dedicated to providing experienced and comprehensive legal assistance to individuals and their families during their times of need.
Let the attorneys from Parker Law Firm help you. Get a free consultation. Give us a call, 817-503-9200, or visit parkerlawfirm.com.
Real estate accounts for more millionaires than any other investment vehicle. Lifestyles Unlimited is an education and mentor group that for over 23 years has taken people by the hand and taught them how to build wealth and passive income streams. Our students have won Investor of the Year awards 8 of the last 8 years. We offer a free workshop for anyone considering investing in real estate. 866-945-6565. That's 866-945-6565. Or visit lifestylesunlimited.com. That's lifestylesunlimited.com.
Despite last year's rally, the stock market is no sure bet in 2014. Log on to top12stocks.com for a free special report of the 12 stocks you should buy right now to profit from this year. Don't miss out on these potentially highly profitable opportunities from our team of experts: Mark Skousen, Chris Versace, Nicholas Vardy, and Doug Fabian. Their recommendations are yours free for a limited time. Top12stocks.com for your free special report of the 12 stocks you should buy right now. Log on now, top12stocks.com.
The Business Authority, 1160 AM KVCE.
Hello, I'm Brad Parker, back with you again with Bar Talk. I'm the lawyer you hope you never need, here on AM 1160 KVCE. If anybody wants to call in, feel free to do so. The number is 214-787-1160. That's 214-787-1160. You know, when someone has a serious injury or event in their life, it becomes very, very chaotic. And many times people don't know where to turn. They don't know who to trust. They quickly learn that they're going to be getting calls from insurance companies. They're getting calls from the hospital about bills and how they're going to get paid. They're learning for the first time many times. They've always known what their deductibles and their copays are, but they never really thought about it. And when you have to come out of pocket for $10,000 because that's your deductible, it can put an extreme hardship on a family, especially if it's the breadwinner who has been involved in a horrible trucking accident or a product liability problem, a product that injures or harms or even kills the breadwinner. And there's also, of course, all the emotional issues that go with that. And everyone always thinks, I don't want to sue. I'm not that kind of person. You don't know how often I hear that when people come into my law office and they say, I want you to know that this is not a frivolous lawsuit. I'm not that kind of person. And they're very serious and you take it very serious. But I oftentimes want to tell them, I'm not that kind of lawyer. And hopefully they understand I'm not, because they're there. But nobody ever made a living being a lawyer by filing frivolous lawsuits. And that's one of the things that I think people sometimes lose perspective of, is that a lawyer is not only a professional, but he's a business person also, he or she is. And we have to evaluate cases based on what not only happened, but what the law is. Because the laws govern whether or not we're going to have access to the judicial system, to a right to trial by jury or not. I wish it were true that for every harm there's a right, but it's not. Many, many times people will come in and you have to tell them, I'm sorry, the law is such that I cannot help you, or the law is such that this is all I can do for you. But the most important thing that anybody can do once they have been injured or wronged by the conduct of somebody else is seek legal advice. I have a very dear friend who lost their father just to natural causes, but they were talking the other day about, well, what if this, what if that, from the standpoint of just handling his probate estate. And I had to talk to my friend until I was blue in the face going, will you quit talking about what ifs? Do yourself a favor and go find out what it is. Go talk to a lawyer. You're driving your mom and your brothers and sisters crazy by all of you talking about that. And that's what you need to do anytime you find yourself in that kind of situation, whether it's a criminal matter, personal injury matter, insurance matter, or a probate or a death. But one of the things that you need to be very, very careful about is picking the right lawyer. And you need to look at that lawyer's credentials. You need to look at that lawyer's experience. You need to be sure that that lawyer practices in the area in which you need the help. None of us would knowingly go to a hand surgeon to have neck surgery. However, I see it time and time again that people will have a serious case involving an injury, a serious injury case, and they go to someone whose website says, we do criminal law, family law, probate law, and personal injury trial law. Well, I've been doing this for 30 years, and or almost 30 years, I wouldn't even begin to try to practice family law, probate law, criminal law, and personal injury trial law. It's too highly specialized. Can they do it? Yes. Are they qualified to do it? Probably. Will they do a good job? I seriously question that. There's certainly going to be the exceptions. But if you need a personal injury trial lawyer, look for a personal injury trial lawyer. Look for one whose practice is substantially nothing but representing people. We don't do insurance defense. We don't represent corporations. We represent people in these kinds of situations. But then not only look at how their practice is focused, do they have the experience? If you go to someone who does nothing but minor car wreck cases, and you've been involved in a horrible drunk driving accident where the other person left a bar, was drunk, and ran into your loved one or you, and seriously injured you, that's not a simple car wreck case. That's a very complicated dram shop case. You want to be sure that the lawyer you hire has experience in those areas. Make certain that the lawyer you have, in my opinion, needs to be board certified. Board certified just means that you have an extra degree of proven competence. Listen, there's plenty of people out there that aren't board certified that probably do just fine and have the same level of competence, but they've never taken the exam. But they've not demonstrated that by taking the exam and becoming board certified by the Texas Board of Legal Specialization. So look at that issue. Whether it's a family lawyer, a criminal lawyer, a personal injury lawyer, a probate lawyer, are they board certified? Have they demonstrated that they have a lot of success or a lot of experience? Do they do other things? Ask about their staff. Hopefully you'll meet some of their staff. One of the things that I tell all clients that come in to see me is don't make your decision today. Go home, talk to your loved ones, think about what I've told you today. I mean, if you want to sign up with me and let me represent you right now, that's fine. I'll do that. But I want my clients to feel very, very comfortable about this most important decision that they're fixing to make. And it's been my experience that when people have the opportunity to step back, they'll make the right decisions. But one of the things that they need to be asking yourself is whether or not you feel comfortable with that lawyer. Do they impart to you that level and degree of trust and friendship and being there? In many of the personal injury cases that we handle at the Parker Law Firm, they're very significant cases. They've lost a loved one, or their life has been significantly disrupted for a long period of time. And you're going to have to work with us for over a long period over a lot of different issues. And if you just don't like the person you're working with, just a personality conflict, that might not be the best fit for you. So there's a whole bunch of things that go into deciding whether or not and who you want as your lawyer when you start making those kinds of decisions. The internet is one of the best ways that I know of that you can easily do that. Look at whether or not there's some reviews on the website. Ask your friends and neighbors who they've had. Most people will only come in contact with a lawyer, most people, because of a criminal problem, a probate problem, or a divorce. And most people it's because of a divorce. And so many times you want to go back to, if you had a good experience with those lawyers, go back to them and say, hey, would you recommend anybody? Would you, do you have any thoughts about this person or that person? And don't be shy about it. Ask around. Try to find out. In our next segment, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the jury system. I don't mean to give you a history lesson, but I think you might find it kind of interesting and the question of whether or not we're losing our jury system. I'm Brad Parker. This is Bar Talk. I look forward to talking to you in just a few minutes. Thank you.
From Wall Street to the Metroplex, this is 1160 AM KVCE.
Hello, everybody. Alan Thicke here. You know, it takes money to run a country. Your money. And that's why if you owe back taxes, the IRS might garnish your wages. They could levy your bank account, come after your home or business. But truth is, they'd rather settle for less than bother you more. So they have this brilliant program to help if you're behind on your taxes. It's called the Fresh Start Initiative. They're offering this to help you solve your tax problem once and for all. You could qualify for a settlement that's substantially less than before these changes. Nobody knows these tax relief programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Their attorneys and agents will work to get you the best possible tax settlement, and they're fully accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Don't wait till it's too late. Call Optima for your free consultation.
Call 800-711-5743. That's 800-711-5743. 800-711-5743. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
At Parker Law Firm, people matter. We have an unwavering commitment to people who have been seriously harmed by the negligence or wrongdoing of others. Our practice focuses on those who have been killed or seriously injured in major trucking or car accidents, or whose lives have been seriously disrupted by the bad faith conduct of an insurance company.
Hi, I'm Brad Parker, principal partner at Parker Law Firm. I'm board certified in personal injury trial law by the Texas Board of Legal Specialization. I'm also the immediate past president of the Texas Trial Lawyers Association. Our firm knows that when you or a loved one has been seriously injured in an accident caused by another person's negligence, you may not know where to go or who to trust. Our firm is built on years of trial experience, a tradition of personal service, and a reputation for zealous representation of our clients. We're dedicated to providing experienced and comprehensive legal assistance to individuals and their families during their times of need.
Let the attorneys from Parker Law Firm help you. Get a free consultation. Give us a call, 817-503-9200, or visit parkerlawfirm.com.
Okay, I've got a few questions. How many Brussels sprouts do you really have to eat before they start to taste good? You know, I was even thinking, will you really use the whole lifetime warranty on any product? Now, the big question. How many dealers do you really have to shop to get the best deal? Well, most consumers say 3, some say 4. Well, I say that's too many. Start and finish with one, Sports City Toyota. Why? At Sports City Toyota, the awards don't come from selling a lot of cars, which they do. It comes from hundreds of consumers each and every month putting completely satisfied on their factory surveys. Month in, month out at Sports City Toyota at 635 Northwest Highway, they take the best approach. Listen to the consumer. Call 972-681-3000. That's 972-681-3000. Or online 24/7 at sportscitytoyota.com. Remember, when buying the best, buy from the best. That's Sports City Toyota.
When I first got out of law school, I went to work for a big downtown Fort Worth law firm. It was a prestigious job, but I never felt fulfilled professionally helping banks and companies. I didn't have that fulfillment that kind of drove me to be a lawyer to begin with. And the more I saw and learned, the more I realized that maybe being in the big firm wasn't the right thing for me. So after about 5 years, I went out on my own to kind of start doing some personal injury work and some what we call insurance bad faith, because you get the opportunity to help real people. Your efforts and your success makes a difference in their lives. And that is very satisfying and very rewarding to me. And it drives me every morning when I wake up to be able to help people. The rewarding times after a case is settled, the cards I get from clients, just to say, thank you, you made a difference in my life. I never really got that from the CEOs of the banks that I represented. It is truly rewarding to know that you've made a difference in someone's life and you've really helped them out.
1160 AM KVCE, Dallas-Fort Worth's Business Authority.
We're back. I'm Brad Parker. This is Bar Talk. KVCE AM 1160, DFW's Business Authority. During the break, I got a text from a good buddy of mine, and he was saying, "Hey, what is this? The lawyer you hope you never need? What does that mean?" And I laughed. I just thought it was so natural, but I thought, well, maybe I better explain that. Maybe I need to change that a little bit. I get a nod from the control room in there that maybe I do. But what that means is, if I'm representing you, or someone like me is representing you, something horrible has happened in your life to disrupt it substantially, whether it's the death of a loved one or an insurance company absolutely making your life miserable because it's the sixth adjuster on a hail claim. They won't pay for the water damage. You're lost a leg in an automobile accident. You've got 6 months of rehab and cognitive impairment because of a concussion and a temporary brain injury or traumatic brain injury. Those are horrible events in your life. And I practice the area of law, and personal injury lawyers practice the area of law, that you're only going to meet us when something horrible happens in your life. That's why I hope you never need me. I hope that if you do, you'll use me and give me an opportunity to work for you, to represent you. But that's what I mean by that. Before we went to break, I kind of was talking about, and you have to understand, I kind of get passionate about the civil justice system and the legislature and how laws are made and how they work. I was honored, after being in the Tarrant County Bar as president, to be invited into an organization called the Mahon Inn of Courts. And basically what that is a cross-section of lawyers who have an organization set up. It's across the country. Dallas has one, Fort Worth has one. The Fort Worth one just happens to be called the Mahon after federal judge Eldon Mahon. And I was asked to give the toast to the Constitution. And amazing, as of all the jury trials and things I've done in my life, that horrified me that I was going to stand in front of these prestigious lawyers from across the county and have to give a 2-minute toast to the Constitution. And so I started digging around, what was I going to talk about? And I decided to talk about the civil justice system, the right to trial by jury. You know, so many people we hear are espousing their rights, the Second Amendment rights, the First Amendment rights, the 10th Amendment rights. And every one of those is very, very precious right, and we must protect them. But there's also one called the Seventh Amendment that is a very, very precious right as well, and that is the right to trial by jury in civil cases. You know, from the English standpoint, the history of a jury trial really began about the 12th century with King Henry II. I could just look back and imagine what it must have been like, because they, instead of having 12 jurors like we know right now, they just had local men who were brought together to investigate the facts, primarily in land disputes. And they were essentially witnesses, and they would decide it. And this concept kind of grew over time. And finally, by 1215, the Magna Carta under King John was signed by the king, which further created and secured the right to trial by jury, because it was so important to be protected against the king's arbitrariness and be judged by your own peers. So even after the Magna Carta, the jury system evolved and it developed over time to where we ultimately had the concept coming across the ocean with us during the pre-Revolutionary War. And one of the things that happened that led us into the Revolution was what was called the Navigation Acts. And the king at the time was trying to, of course, squish the unrest in the colonies. And one of the things that the king said, and one of the ways they tried to maintain their territorial rights and their empire, was to prevent the colonists from trading with anybody but the king and the English. And so this, of course, displeased the colonists greatly because oftentimes they could sell for more or buy for cheaper with folks other than the king. And what we had was smugglers. Smugglers developed and were smuggling goods in and out of the country. And of course, they were being judged by their peers, a jury system, as to whether or not they had violated the law. And so quickly, the juries were saying, no, we don't find that's a violation of the law. So the king at the time outlawed jury trials. And this so outraged the colonists that they felt it was extremely important to include this, the right to trial by jury, in the Declaration of Independence. After the Revolution, during the Constitutional Convention, the right to trial by jury, not only in criminal matters, but civil matters, was extremely important and debated constantly throughout the convention process. Ultimately, it was agreed that there would be 10 amendments to the Constitution, the ones that we're very familiar with, the right to free speech, the right of the press, the right to bear arms. But there are 3 in the first 10 amendments that deal with the right to trial by jury, both in a criminal matter, a civil matter, and a grand jury. So to think for a moment that the right to trial by jury in the civil justice system was anything other than fundamentally important to the founders of this country would be disingenuous. It's just a fabric. It is part of the blood, the sweat, the tears that has gone into the development of our country. If it wasn't for the ability of regular people to fight the big corporations and hold them accountable, we probably wouldn't have shatterproof glass. We would certainly not see, I would suggest to you, the fallout that we're having with GM right now on their ignition switches. I doubt very seriously if the threat of lawsuits would propel manufacturers of products to otherwise be safe. So when you get a jury summons and you're the first thing one of my daughters got a jury summons. She just turned 18. She goes, "Dad, how can I get out of this?" And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? I'd kill to be able to sit on a jury. I've been down there. They never do pick me. I can't imagine why. But I sat down, explained or visited with her about it. And she actually went down there. She didn't get picked, but she went through the process and came home with a whole new appreciation. And that happens to me every time I pick a jury and I try a case. They come up to me after the trial and just say, "This has been one of the most incredible experiences that I've ever had." Of course, they get to see not only 2 excellent lawyers typically work and practice and fight for their clients' rights, but they're a part of it. And when you think about it, where else in society do 12 complete strangers come together from all walks of life? You may have bankers, you may have clerical people, you may have folks who work in the restaurant industry, you may have school teachers, airline pilots, the folks that mop the floors. You have a mixture of everybody that come together and they decide such critical and important matters that might come before them. And for anyone to ever second guess a jury, I find a little disheartening because the jury wants to do the right thing. They go in, it's your neighbors, your friends that go in and sit on a jury. They're the ones that they come with their preconceived notions about runaway juries and tort reform and frivolous lawsuits and all of that kind of stuff. But they're the ones that hear every bit of evidence. They're the ones that hear the arguments being made by the counsel. They're the ones that hear the objections being sustained or overruled. They're the ones that go back and deliberate among themselves. These strangers who have never, ever been together before. And they're given the law, and they want to follow the law. And they typically do what they believe is the absolute best. In fact, there's been a study, and I don't have it at my fingertips, of federal court judges who were asked if they were in trouble, whatever trouble it may be, who would they want to judge their case? Would it be juries or judges? And the overwhelming response from the judges was juries. That's because they know that juries aren't jaded by the process. You can't help if you're a judge or a person involved in it to become somewhat cold or insensitive at times to the process. But when you have 12 people who are come in off the street who don't know anything about you, your client, the judge, the facts, and they sit down and evaluate it, that's an extremely important and valuable process and right that we all need to be very concerned about and protect. Because I would suggest to you that there is a push on, and has been for years, to eliminate the right to trial by jury. And you eliminate that right by starting to close access to the courthouse, by starting to close your rights of when someone does something wrong. What can you hold them accountable for? Well, I can change the law by saying what they can and can't be held accountable for. Therefore, I can never then get the case in front of a jury to allow the jury to make a decision about that. So it's amazing the efforts and the stuff that goes on. But I don't want to bore you or give you any more history lessons necessarily about the jury system, but I just wanted everyone to know how fundamentally important it is. And if you have the opportunity to be on a jury, you should take it. We'll be back in just a little bit to talk more. If you want to call in at 214-787-1160. I'm Brad Parker. We're here with Bar Talk on KVCE AM 1160, DFW's Business Authority.
DFW's Business Authority, 1160 AM, KVCE.
How is your retirement account looking? Or how about your savings account? If you're tired of watching your family's financial future disappear and are left wondering why your money manager can't seem to keep it from happening, then come learn how to take control of your own finances. Since the Bible teaches to lay aside for your grandchildren, you need a way to do just that. Attend our 2-day course and learn the system that pastor and businessman David Mitchell developed based on principles found in the Bible, along with his solid background in trading in the stock market. You can learn this system just like thousands of others have across the country. Be the person that your great-grandchildren will be talking about. New venture on Wall Street. Build your legacy. Attend our live event. Come to the Crowne Plaza Addison in the Sheraton Fort Worth, June 20th and 21st. Full money-back guarantee. To register, call 877-907-TRADE. That's 877-907-TRADE. Or go to nvows.com. That's nvows.com.
At Parker Law Firm, people matter. We have an unwavering commitment to people who have been seriously harmed by the negligence or wrongdoing of others. Our practice focuses on those who have been killed or seriously injured in major trucking or car accidents, or whose lives have been seriously disrupted by the bad faith conduct of an insurance company.
Hi, I'm Brad Parker, Principal Partner at Parker Law Firm. I'm board certified in personal injury trial law by the Texas Board of Legal Specialization. I'm also the immediate past president of the Texas Trial Lawyers Association. Our firm knows that when you or a loved one has been seriously injured in an accident caused by another person's negligence, you may not know where to go or who to trust. Our firm is built on years of trial experience, a tradition of personal service, and a reputation for zealous representation of our clients. We're dedicated to providing experienced and comprehensive legal assistance to individuals and their families during their times of need.
Let the attorneys from Parker Law Firm help you. Get a free consultation. Give us a call, 817-503-9200, or visit parkerlawfirm.com.
Why should you try a free bottle of Krill Omega 10X? Well, if you're one of the millions of people who take fish oil and you want to experience the incredible benefits of krill and improve your joint comfort in just 7 days, then you've got to try a free bottle of Krill Omega 10X, the ultimate combination of ultra-pure fish oil and krill. Only Krill Omega 10X has 10 times the power of regular krill oil, so you know it's going to work for you. Experience the miracle of Krill Omega 10X for your heart, your cholesterol, your brain function, focus, energy, and especially your joints. For your free bottle, call now 1-800-500-9575. We're so sure your joints are going to feel better and more flexible in just 7 days. We want to send you a free bottle. We know once you try it, you won't want to miss a day. Call now 1-800-500-9575. Get your free bottle before they run out. Dial 1-800-500-9575. Call right now 1-800-500-9575.
The very first thing I was taught in financial planning is to manage risk, no matter how remote that risk may seem at the time. Who could have believed companies like General Motors, Lehman Brothers, and Bear Stearns would go bust? Who predicted the stock market crash caused by a broken banking system, and who actually believes that same banking system has now been fixed? This is why everyone needs at least some insurance, whether it's insuring your retirement income or taking money out of your bank account and putting it away in physical gold. It's prudent to insure against the unexpected. Let me send you an eye-opening white paper from Swiss America entitled Don't Bank on It. It exposes the state of our banking system post-crisis and explains why you need to take some money out of the bank and into the security of an asset that will likely hold its value after the printing presses stop. Call 800-289-2646 for your free copy of Don't Bank on It. That's 1-800-289-2646, or click on the microphone at SwissAmerica.com.
This is 1160 AM KVCE. KVCE, Dallas-Fort Worth's business authority.
Welcome back. This is Brad Parker. This is Bar Talk. Glad that you're sticking around for the show. I can't tell you how excited I am about doing this show. We're going to be here every Wednesday afternoon from 5 to 6 on your drive time. I hope that if you have any questions about the civil justice system, specifically in the area of personal injury trial law or insurance, bad faith law, that you'll give me a call and let me answer your questions and see what I can figure out. There's a lot of issues that we will talk about in the coming weeks that come up during the case that most people just never even think about or have ever heard about. But if you have a specific issue, I hope you'll call in with a question or a concern. Or if you're serving on a jury, I'd love to hear from you after the trial. Do not call while you're on the jury, but call us after the trial and let us know what went on. Now, the number to call again is 214-787-1160. You know, one of the things that I've done over the course of my career is I spent a substantial amount of time during legislative sessions. As you probably all know, in Texas we have biannually sessions. Every 2 years, the legislature meets for 140 days. And of course, for years and years, beginning back in the late 80s, and continuing on through even last session, there's always major efforts to do some kind of what we hear is called tort reform. And tort reform, I would suggest to you, is nothing but a way that corporations, big business, insurance companies want to prevent you and your families from gaining access to the civil justice system. And it's rarely is it a big sweep. It's just little chip away at the system. And of course, whatever propels the tort reform efforts is always this frivolous lawsuit or the McDonald's lawsuit. And if you want to know about McDonald's lawsuit, call in. I'll tell you the truth behind that. If you haven't seen that HBO documentary, by the way, called Hot Coffee, you owe it to yourself to look at that. That is an excellent 1 hour, I believe it's just 1 hour, maybe two, program about the Stella Lineback, the McDonald's coffee case, as well as some other very interesting cases and how the perception is not in tune with the reality. But we always hear about these frivolous lawsuits. And an interesting survey was done in Texas about almost 10 years ago now, and I understand it's under its way again to do the same survey. But it was done by Baylor Law School, and in essence, it polled or surveyed the local Texas State District Court judges across the state and about frivolous lawsuits. And amazingly, 78% of the judges responded. And that's a pretty good number. Out of 456 district courts, 389 responded. And they were asked whether or not they felt like there was a problem with frivolous lawsuits. And interestingly, 86% of the responding judges, these are the people that are on the front lines day in, day out, who see what's being filed in Texas, believed that there was no further legislation needed to address frivolous lawsuits. That's significant because during the session, we still continually hear the problem with frivolous lawsuits and what's going on. And so I would submit to you, it'll be interesting to see what the New Baylor study does and see what these judges believe is. We have on the books significant penalties for filing a frivolous lawsuit. If you file one, you can be sanctioned by the court. But what's even more interesting about the civil justice system, and I'm running out of time to get into too much of the numbers, but to look at the numbers of cases that are filed across the state every year, just in the civil court arena. And I'll give you an example. The total number of cases filed for motor vehicle accidents in the year 2013, or for the fiscal year 2013, these are statistics by the State Bar of Texas and the Texas Supreme Court, by the way, 20,000. Non-MVA were 9,000. Just regular civil suits were 24,000. Debt collection, bank notes, and just civil matters were almost 50,000. So in essence, what you have is the personal injury arena of lawsuits is dwarfed almost 2-to-1 by other civil lawsuits that don't involve personal injury. And that's before you even take into consideration the tax lawsuits, the family law lawsuits, the criminal lawsuits that are filed. The portion of lawsuits that involve personal injury are quite insignificant when compared to the others. So whenever someone tries to tell you that there is a frivolous lawsuit problem, stop for just a moment and think about that. Is it really a frivolous lawsuit problem? Or is it a big business that doesn't want to have to compensate consumers for the ignition that no longer works and never did work properly in the cars? Is it because they want to prevent having a mass recall of a product that is defective? Is it because they don't want to have to respond anymore for over-serving patrons at the bar and allowing them to get behind the wheel of a car when the bar owner and the bar staff has clearly seen that they've drank too much? What's the motive behind the tort reform efforts? As the former president of the Texas Trial Lawyers Association, I had a wonderful opportunity to meet lawyers all across this state. In fact, I've had an opportunity to go across the state and put on seminars about legislative efforts to tort reform and what happens in it. And I've had the opportunity to work hand in hand with the Texas Association of Defense Counsel on their leadership, as well as TexABOTA, which is the American Board of Trial Advocacy. And talking to those groups, I think it's fair to say that we typically agree that the legislation that is being pushed is typically bad. It's bad because it tries to further restrict your rights to go forward with trying to hold someone accountable when they harm or injure you, or hold that insurance company accountable for when they fail to repair your roof appropriately. Well, I'm running out of time now, and I just want to visit with you about a couple of more things that are coming up on the station. I want to remind you again that this whole hour every night is dedicated to believers in business. And KVCE is taking the opportunity to bring in local experts on various things. I'm just honored that I get to be here. Again, on Monday, you will have a program on mortgages. On Tuesday from 5 to 6, it'll be called Boss Talk. that's kind of deal with a sales and intelligence type situation. I probably need to listen to that one. Family Law Hour on Thursdays. They'll be talking about that. And then, of course, Money Matters about your finances on Fridays. I also want to tell you about something that's coming up. It's called Celebrate Freedom 24. And it is going to be this Saturday, June 28th. Not this Saturday, next Saturday, June 28th at the South Fork Ranch. And learn more about this. It's going to have an all-star lineup of music and fun. And so I want you to be looking for that. If you need some more information, get online and look it up. Again, thank you for allowing me to be here today, and I look forward to coming back in the future. Brad Parker, this has been Bar Talk.
Thanks for joining us for Bar Talk with local trial lawyer Brad Parker, the attorney you hope you never need. Join us again next week when you, the listener, can become more educated about your legal rights and your Seventh Amendment right to a civil justice system. Until then, if you are in need of legal advice or services, contact local attorney Brad Parker at 817-503-9200 or on his website at parkerlawfirm.com.
1160 AM KVCE.